Hey all, it's Ben here, longtime DFO player. If I can make it to the summer of this year, it'll have been 16 years. Yes, it was a very long time. Okay, I've been playing on and off since then, but more often than not, I'll log in every now and then. Like we've had some periods of time in the 16 years, or maybe there's a little bit of a longer break, like 6 months or something. And of course, I was, forced to stop playing altogether when they shut the game down for the first time in North America. And when that was, around 2012, 2013, right? So that was a forced break. But point is, I've been playing a long time. People kind of know me. I'm a known beast in the community, all right? Not to brag or anything, but, I've been to some of these tournaments overseas, yada yada, whatever. And so, I keep playing this game, and eventually, I think, what is it, like 2020 perhaps? They finally try to like do this thing called like the content creator program or whatever, where they wanted to get people like streaming the game and stuff, making like tutorials and whatnot. So they were just gonna offer like some in-game rewards for people who would do that. I suppose it's like somewhat of a common practice these days for some of these lesser known MMOs at least to like give a little bit of in-game rewards to just the community members who care to like make videos or things like that. But anyway, so I've been the content creator now for like, I don't know, like 5 years, maybe, getting close, something like that. And that may no longer be the case. I'm not saying I'm quitting the game. I'm not quitting DFO, really. Like, I'll log in and play if I want to. And, it's always nice to play PvP with my friends on there, or, just... It's just nice to have DFO as an option for another game to play when, I'm kind of bored, not knowing what else to play, not feeling like I have anything better to play or whatever. It's always nice that DFO is there and I can just go back and play that. But, so anyway, let's try to get into this, right? I've spent like basically the whole day just writing this like basically like giant wall of text to one of the Neopal employees, like kind of explaining my thoughts on everything. Right now I'm not, I'm just freeballing this right now. I haven't scripted this part, but I'll be kind of following along to this whole thing that I wrote over the past day or so. And so we'll have a little bit more structure as we move into here. It might be kind of weird too, because initially I was just like addressing it to the person. But I figured, you know what, why not just like actually record it, right? So I think I made some little changes here and there. And the first beginning part might be kind of like weird with that in mind. But anyways... So let's start back to where the point where I feel is kind of relevant. Well, no, okay. I mentioned I have been the content creator or whatever for the game since like 2020 or so, and the first couple years were all cool and great and all that, right? And I was like, I felt like, wow, maybe there's some kind of potential here. I think the game had received a boost in the player count during that time because I guess like COVID, right? A lot of people had extra time, and so they would come back to an old game maybe they wouldn't have really messed with otherwise. That really did seem the case, just me being there and like talking to all the people and hearing what they had to say and stuff. I just remember that being a thing, like, oh, it's COVID. I almost quit this game, but COVID brought me back, blah, 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 So that was a thing. Like, it was a good time for me, even though it was a bad time in the world in general. It was like, okay, well, now we got this DFO content creator thing. And it's like people are actually tuning in, too. Because, like, I've been known as a PvPer for the longest time. Like, only PvP, only PvP. And whenever I would stream PvE, like none of the PvP heads would really come in and chat or hang out. So it was like, okay, yeah, well, streaming PvE seems kind of wacky usually for that reason, right? But for whatever reason, I guess 100 cap, something about it. I mean, I guess it just seemed a lot more appealing for PvE for a lot of reasons. I mean, namely, they finally implemented some like actual good systems that should have been there like way earlier. Like, namely, the amps, being able to retain your amps from the previous cap. So, like, for example, after Luke Raid, when I get, you know, I'm Grad and Luke Raid and the Super Continent set or whatever the hell it's called, and I've got all those armors and I've made them like plus 11, plus 12 amp, and you know, not long after it's like, oh, level 95 cap is announced. Guess what? It's like all the gear I got is just fucking garbage. Like all the plus 11 amps and stuff don't carry over, which if you don't know, like amps are very expensive to get, and they're not, it's not only that, it's just random, and the gear will break if you attempt to amplify it past 10 without having you know, like a very expensive like protection ticket to, you know, prevent that. But anyway, so 100 cap came out and it added a lot of these really new nice systems like that, like I said, should have probably been there to begin with. But anyways, it was just good timing for the game. Like, COVID meant a lot of extra people were in, a lot of more people were interested to keep playing just because, you know, they didn't feel like they had to restart all over again like some of the previous caps made you do, right? So they genuinely did make some good decisions, and I think 100 cap might have been the best era of the game ever, really, if we're being honest. I think 100 cap, another thing, if I remember correctly, they added was finally the fair arena was added. Like, if you guys remember, some old players, there was a previous version of the fair arena, so-called fair arena anyway, where you know, the gear was supposed to be equalized and all that, and it didn't really matter, but it actually did kind of matter still back then, because you still could benefit from premium items such as, you know, your title and your pet. Like that, okay, yeah, the little avatars and stuff didn't matter, but title and pet mattered. And you could even swap between titles at that point in time in the arena. So, you know, it was kind of annoying. You could like abuse stacking a lot of like title buffs and stuff, and yeah, that was ridiculous. So anyway, there was that version of the fair arena, which was definitely a step up above, you know, the way the arena had been before that. And we're talking like maybe 2011, 2012 is when that first fair arena was out. And, you know, prior to that, like I said, I've been playing since 2009. Prior to that, it was way more like, you know, unbalanced and, you know, gear required. But anyway, shit, so where was I with all of that? I kind of don't exactly remember, but yeah, 100 cap. Okay, yeah. 100 cap, right? I think it's like pretty widely regarded as one of the best caps, if not the best level cap by most of the players. And going back to what I was saying about the, not only like all these nice PvE changes and stuff, but if I remember correctly, the PvP arena had finally actually been truly like standardized to where no gear mattered at all, no premium items, no title, nothing. If you play a mirror match with some other dude, like, yes, you guys will have the same exact stats and everything. Like, you can still customize your own build, and there might be some differences there, which is cool. But other than that, you can't get an advantage over another player or anything, right? So 100 cap should have, you know, maybe ideally been the best time for PvP. But unfortunately, it really wasn't, because what happened was they really just let the game, at least for the PvP, they really just let it get killed And I guess this would be like a good time to bring this up. Hold on, let me see here. I'm gonna be bringing up some stuff here on the monitor capture here and there when I feel it's relevant. So notice the time, notice the date here, 2020. Okay, this might have been slightly before the Fair Arena came out, or I just took a while to upload this. It seems that this is still the geared arena, right? But that's not the relevant part. So we got this guy here. This is some guy that would just like grief all day in the arena and just, you know, make it bad for everybody. He's the reason why a lot of people, like, you know, the arena, the ranked arena was already kind of on like life support, I guess. But this guy really was kind of like the last straw. Like, yeah, the netcode has always been a problem in this game, even back in the day. It's just that we didn't care about it. We were like young, we didn't know better. We didn't have so many options as far as like games that we could play instead. But you know, we played it, we like it. I mean, if the game works, it's good. There's nothing like this game, you know, like a traditional fighting game and stuff. There's nothing else that's like this game, man. So when it works, it's great, but the people over at Neopal have just kind of let it waste, I feel like. They really don't understand what they have, I think. But so the arena should have been good. It should have been the best it's ever been, actually, in 100 cap, whenever they added the Fair Arena, whenever that was. I don't know the exact date. But it was more like, it was kind of like a too little too late kind of thing, where it's like they never fixed the netcode. It was never good to begin with, which is something that I'll say if I actually read this damn letter that I wrote. I'm still freeballing it right now. It was never actually good to begin with for any country other than South Korea. Like, yeah, maybe back in 2009 or whatever, it's like we didn't have such high standards, so we didn't care as much. But it's like, dude, now we know, like, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, all these other games are out. We have so many decisions as far as like what games we could play, games that have better netcode. We don't, you know, and meanwhile DFO has been out for 16 years. Like I said, I've been playing it for 16. Actually, I guess it's been more in the other regions of China and Korea. It's been out longer, right? But I'm like, okay, I've been playing this shit for mad long, and it's like, man, the netcode is not up to par. There's a lot of things that aren't up to par, but by far the biggest issue is definitely the netcode. And you know, the PvP players have often been the loudest. Let's see, what's the word? They've been like the vocal minority, I guess, right? The PvP players. Because, you know, it is true, like this game, it's a PvE game. Like they don't even advertise it as a PvP game or anything, you know, not that they necessarily should, although I feel like, yeah, it has its own merits and there's nothing else like it, so like it, you know, it's cool like that. And obviously, like, there's skill. I don't care what anybody says. Some people think there's no skill involved with PvP. They don't know what the hell they're talking about, just plain and simple. Like, if you watch those tournaments that happen in Korea and China, like, it's obvious that they do. You see a lot of these players, they're often the ones, like, winning it over and over again, you know? I mean, there's that one striker guy, you know, rest in peace. I think his name was, like, Cherry 59 or whatever, right? Man, he won those damn tournaments, like, fucking 2 or 3 times just from what I had seen, and that's not, you know, that's one of the ones that I was like involved with. I didn't see all the ones that he must have won, you know, that were just for China or whatever. So, I mean, to think that the game isn't a skill-based game or something when there's people like that that are clearly dominating and like will consistently beat you like every time. You want to think it's like some RNG or something. You just don't understand the game. All right. So there's that. Anyway, I guess that was a good way to start it. We put some groundwork down. I can maybe start to just read this note. I'll be probably reiterating a lot of the points that I've made already. But let's see. So we established the fact that I was in the content creator for a long time. And I will say that, you know, every year or so, it has been like a tradition where the guy in charge of all that, he'll ask me, and I guess all the others that are involved, like, oh, do you guys want to keep doing this, you know? And I've typically always just said yeah, you know, because I found at one point it's like I kind of just sometimes I wouldn't even necessarily do the required like criteria whatever for the rewards, but then I would still get it anyway or whatever. So I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, they're not like really kicking me out, are they? So I mean, sure, why not just say yes? Even if I'm not like super passionate about it, I might as well just say yes, because I mean, it doesn't seem like it hurts or anything, right? Like, it's not like they're paying me. They don't pay me any money. They just give me like, what is it? I don't know, some like small little in-game rewards, which are very helpful, yes, if you actually care to play the game and you're not, you know, a whale, like, because, you know, I'm a free-to-play player primarily. Like, I've spent some money here and there, but, you know, I've definitely never whaled out. I've just been lucky to be able to get prizes from like some of the tournaments that I've been able to enter and stuff like that. And then, you know, with this content creator thing, I've gotten a good amount of in-game items just from those rewards, like I was saying. But one of the main reasons that the content creator thing seemed more appealing, whereas now it isn't, at one point there was this like Twitch drops thing, right? Where, well, I mean, you guys are familiar with Twitch drops if you're familiar with streams at all and all that. Like, you have participating streams, you watch them, and then for like every minute you gain progress towards like an in-game item. And sometimes they're cool, sometimes they're not. Like, they've given away like cosmetic avatar sets on DFO for the drops. I mean, those have probably been the best rewards. There's been other things here and there, but if I remember correctly, like just the cosmetics that they gave out for free would have probably been the most, you know, appealing thing. But anyway, you know, that used to be like a nice boon to my streams, kind of. Like, you know, there would be at least those little few week periods or whatever where I would, we'd have those drops events and I could just go hard, like actually streaming the game. And the first one was very amazing. Like, I guess people were still riding high on the 100 cab. I explained earlier how it's probably the best cap they've ever put out. You know, I guess a lot more people around for COVID and stuff, and they had finally, for the first time, like, started to advertise the game a little bit more, because they had been lacking on that up to this point. But so anyway, this first drops event, I really took advantage of it a lot, right? And I, you know, I had like, I don't know, maybe 2,000 viewers or something, which was like a lot for me. And I was like, damn, you know, this is really cool. I mean, a lot of people were just, you know, they were just AFK, not really say anything, get their drops and like leave and maybe never come back if, you know, once they got it and all that. But, I mean, there was plenty of people that were very supportive during those times. Like, new people, too. Like, yeah, and, even the people who weren't that supportive necessarily, but just, like, all the new people that wanted to learn stuff, and they would ask the questions, and now I could try to help them with it. Like, that was all good, right? But, fast forward, I don't know when it was exactly, uh like Twitch stopped operating in Korea or something, or I don't know what the hell it was that happened exactly, because I don't think it's like Korea has been banned by Twitch or anything. Matter of fact, like, I still follow some of the Korean PvP streamers that have cared to keep multi-streaming onto Twitch, you know, for whatever reason, which I'm glad that they do, because, you know, sometimes I just prefer to watch on Twitch than YouTube or whatnot. You know, even if there's like nobody, I'm not necessarily chatting. Obviously, the biggest reason why people prefer to watch on Twitch usually is the chat will be better. But, you know, there's not really many people in there, so it's not like I'm chatting, but, well, I'm chatting right now. Anyways, right? So my point with that was, yes, it's not like they banned, like, Korean people from being on Twitch or something. I still have many that I follow, and I see them stream on here, and I tune into their streams still. And, you know, there's still people, like, from Korea that tune into my own stream. You know, one of my main viewers, shoutouts to Alex, he's like pretty much in there almost, you know, anytime I go live. So I know that he's not using a VPN or anything. I asked him, I was like, oh, you gotta use a VPN or something? It's like, nope, it's not that. It's just like a lot of the Korean streamers, you know, they can't really earn ad revenue on their streams and stuff, so they just moved to other platforms. However, you know, some still kind of they stay on Twitch because, you know, they multi-stream that way, that they can stream on their other platforms and, you know, get their money, but still keep it on Twitch. You know, still maybe find a couple new follows here and there on Twitch in case, I guess, if Twitch ever becomes the best option for them again, which, you know, depending on how things go, maybe that will be the case in the future. But for whatever reason, I don't know why, because it's confusing to me. I never really asked. Maybe I should have, but I just didn't. It was always confusing to me why, when the whole Twitch, like, Korea thing happened, why there could no longer be the Twitch drops event for the streams. I feel like that was the main incentive to even want to be the content creator, because, yeah, while the free, like, in-game items were all nice and you know, helpful, and you can't complain about getting something for free if you were just gonna do it anyway, right? Because it's like, obviously I don't play DFO like trying to get money or make it big or something stupid like that. Like, obviously I've been playing it just because well, I started when I was a kid and I didn't know any better, right? I'll say that again later, probably, if I end up reading this damn letter I wrote. But, yeah. I've just been playing for a long time. I met a lot of people that I continue to talk to this day by playing the game. And, I was just playing for fun. Like, I just happened to get into it. When you're a kid, you don't really think about stuff that much as far as, like, what you should put your time and effort into. Like, if I had known what I know now, I probably wouldn't have spent so much time on DFO. But, you know, it is what it is, right? And I don't regret the time that I've spent on it, at least not all of it, because, like I said, and will say again in the future, I met a lot of cool people from it, you know? And even if I stream other games, a lot of the people that will be chatting in my chat room will likely be people that I first met from DFO. So, you know, I am grateful for DFO and some of the opportunities I've had, but it's been a bittersweet. I would say that I've had a love-hate relationship with the game, like, the whole time, I guess. Almost. Like, maybe not the whole time, but, like, maybe since, like, 2013 or something, like, when it first shut down. You know, it hasn't really been the same then. And granted, all my best accomplishments were after that point, and are, you know, probably the years like 2017, 2019 when I actually went over for the Extreme tournaments and F1 tournament and actually did well. Like, those are probably like the highlights, right? And that's way after I started playing. 2019 would be, in fact, 10 years after I even started, right? So anyway, I have a long history with the game. People think I might be pessimistic about it. I judge it too much, and you know, because the people who think that, they probably hear me on my streams sometimes. I'll have like criticisms or stuff, you know. It'll be an often thing where we'll just be talking shit about a lot of the stuff on DFO, or you know, like a lot of stuff you might hear the Neopen employees say on the stream or whatever. You just gotta make fun of stuff just to cope with it, because it's not like I want to be a hater and you know, shit on the game, but it's like it's not living up to what it should be, and so kind of as a way to cope with that, I guess we just got to make fun of it, I feel like. And I feel like that was honestly part of the enjoyment with the game, with how jank and buggy it is. Like, if you can't laugh at it, I don't know, you probably quit, right? Like, you if you can't laugh at the game and make fun of it and talk shit about it, you probably just aren't playing the game because you think it's so stupid, which, you know, who could blame you, right? Or if not, then you're just like, I don't know, you got some major cognitive dissonance to think that the game is like some great shit that it's really not, right? It has potential, but the people over there at Neopol haven't. I don't know. I mean, yes, they've been trying in some ways, but they've been failing in a lot of other ways. And like, I wrote this whole big ass letter, and I still feel like I could talk about this forever, for eternity even. Like, there's just so much more. There's gonna be a lot that I miss when I go over this. But anyway, so I've been a content creator for the game 5 years or so. Every year they keep asking, oh, you want to do it again? You want to do it for another year? I'm always like, yeah, because for me, it's like, you know, like I said, it's a low commitment thing anyway. I can just say yeah, and I don't have to feel obligated. I think for the first couple years, I felt more stressed and obligated about it to meet the criteria they wanted me to do. But what ended up happening is, like, as we all probably know, at least if you play the game for any considerable amount of time, there's like major dead periods where there's just not really much happening in the game. And so it's like the thought that you're gonna make a content like during these dead periods where there really isn't anything, it's just like, nah, it can't really be done. Like, what ended up happening to a lot of us for this first few years is we would just like upload these little clips of us getting like the mythic drops or whatever. It's like, oh my god, I got a mythic drop, oh my god, bro. But it's like, dude, that's nothing, right? Later people started making more tutorials and stuff. Not many of us were making tutorials at that point, I think. And to be clear, I never wanted to really make tutorials. I just wanted to stream on Twitch. Like, I feel like there's more of a clear separation between like the Twitch streamer thing and like the YouTube thing. I only ever wanted to just stream on Twitch and just hang out, you know, be alive. Obviously there's a difference. People who want to make tutorials and stuff, they make YouTube videos. People who want to like hang out, it's a different experience altogether. I feel like maybe they forgot about that or whatever, but yeah. If you want to stream, you're obviously wanting to sit there and hang out and, you know, answer questions that people have, like, right there in the moment. Like, you know, it's live, you're interacting with people. That's the difference. Like, I never had interest in just sitting there and making a big tutorial or whatever, spending a bunch of time. See, the other thing about that is, like, yeah, I would probably make more tutorials, but if I were to do something like that, I would want them to be, like, really good. And so I felt like I'm not that good at like using some of the video editing software and stuff to be able to really make them as good as I would want them to. So I had never really been making tutorials. And then just due to my philosophy with the game too, I really kind of didn't agree with the tutorial so much. Like, I always felt that it was kind of sad when some people would come in, like newer players maybe, and they would be asking certain questions like, yo, what's the best class? What's the meta class? Or, you know, asking questions like that I don't really agree with. And it's just like, I don't understand why so many people, when they play games, why can't they just like jump in and like just figure it out? Like, I do kind of understand with DFO, there's a lot to undertake, especially if you're new, and especially now. I feel like maybe it was different when I first started with this, at least a little bit. So I guess, you know, that part has probably changed, but anyways, yeah, I guess I always felt like I could just stream, and then if people had questions, I could do my best to answer them there, or if I couldn't, then hopefully somebody in my chat room could. But I never had any interest in making tutorials, and you know, I never said that I would, to be fair, when, you know, the whole content creator thing came up. But I guess, you know, with that, I should probably tie in to how, like, at some point on the in-game launcher, or not in-game launcher, but the game launcher, you know, they started embedding the content creator videos into that little video player thing, and they used to kind of just put all of our stuff, and my stuff would be featured there more, just, you know, whatever random little funny thing I was doing. But I feel like at some point, I don't know exactly when, it shifted from just being like a whatever goes, or like all the content creators being focused. I feel like there was a shift to it then being like, oh, whoever makes the tutorials will be featured here. So that was never my thing to begin with, but I understood why that would be a thing, right? Yeah, it makes sense. Like, you want tutorials to be made and stuff, but I'm just trying to have fun with the game. Like, I will help people that ask, but I was never trying to make tutorials. And if I'm gonna sit there and try to make a perfect tutorial or something, then I probably need to be paid to be honest. Like, that's not fun. Like, streaming is fun. Streaming a game that you like is fun. You don't necessarily have to feel like, oh, I need to get paid for this. But if I'm gonna be sitting there messing around with like video software and like compiling all this crap to make like a perfect guide or something, that's just work at that point, and you're not actually paying me. You're just giving me some little, like, I don't know, Kaleido box or something. Like, I don't care. I'm not doing work for you. You guys need to make your own tutorials. That's the thing too with some of this stuff. It's like, why can't they have somebody over there that just makes the tutorials? Like, as we all know, the game the game is like 6 months ahead in Korea. They're over there sitting there. They're either making it, or they're like in close proximity to the people who actually make the game. Yet they cannot provide the tutorials themselves, or they cannot do what any good game would actually do and like properly bake the tutorial into the game itself. So it's like, you know, it's very weird, right? And it's good that I'm actually over here rambling as I may be, but it's good that, you know, I am speaking more than just what I got here on the letter, because I feel like I'm making some good points now that I didn't even think to include into my letter here. But anyways, so yeah, we got all that out of the way. And finally, so I was saying, every year he would ask me, do you still want to do this content creator thing? I would just say yeah, because like I said, it seemed low commitment. And they weren't featuring my videos so much anymore on the player, it seemed like. But, you know, I didn't really care that much. I was still just playing the game how I wanted to play. Playing with my community, my friends. I kind of was in my own bubble a little bit always, you know. I got I got some, you know, some people go around to all of the streamers, I guess, all the DFO streamers. But then there's others that would just kind of stick around for me. And so, you know, I was content being in my own bubble and, you know, with what I had already kind of like built up over the years. So, you know, I wasn't like mad that they're not featuring some of the videos that I would post on the launcher. But you know, that also helped me to kind of stop posting them into the channel, because you know they got this channel in the content creator Discord where they're like, okay, post your videos here and we might feature them and stuff. But after, you know, I have posted a lot and I don't think they had been featured, like I'm saying, the space is occupied by the guides and stuff, which I don't blame them for that. That makes perfect sense. But it just, that's gonna make me obviously not really care to even post the videos in that little channel if they're not gonna feature them. Like, what's the point? Like, yeah, sure, sometimes it is kind of a boost in a way just for the other people that are in there to see it and be like, oh hell, that was cool, man, you know, like one of the other content creators or whatever. I remember, you know, Meza has liked some of my stuff that I posted in there or whatever. But anyway, so going back to, we got all that sorted out, right? This time it was different because where all the other times where I would tell him each year, like, yeah, I'll do it again. This time it was different because he said, hello, Ben. We are currently discussing this is, let's see, what's the date? November 8th. Last year, 2024. Hello, Ben. We are currently discussing the recruitment of new content creators. We would like to ask if you're interested in continuing as a DFO content creator in 2025. Additionally, please feel free to share any feedback regarding the content creator program. Your insights will help guide future recruitment and activities. Okay, so I just said, I kept it simple. I said, I'm interested in continuing for 2025 because, you know, like I said, it had seemed to me to this point, I just say, yeah, they don't necessarily get on my case if I'm not uploading the videos or whatever, and it's just like, well, you know, why not keep doing it? It's not like I hate the game. I love the game. I play it here and there. Sometimes there are periods of downtime where nothing's really happening and I don't play, but just, you know, keeping my foot in the door, kind of. Maybe I was thinking, oh, maybe they'll bring the drops event back or something. I don't know how long it's been since the last one. Maybe like 2 years even. I don't even know. But I guess I was always maybe holding out for something like that, or, you know, if I had ever felt like I had something I really wanted to stream instead, then I could probably let DFO go entirely. But I just haven't really found that next game that I was really like super dedicated about playing. Like some of you guys might know that I did some good speed runs of like Castlevania Symphony Night back in the day, but the brunt of the work there, as far as like me learning and getting good at that game, was done when DFO wasn't really around, right? So that probably makes sense, right? I started learning that not long after DFO first shut down in North America in 2013. And yeah, so I guess the point with that was if DFO had just been up at that point still, who knows if I would have even gotten so good at the speedrun that I did get good at, right? But so anyways, he asked me if I want to do it again. I just said yeah, because it was like low commitment. It seemed like nobody really cared. And this is a point too. This is actually a good point, because it's like, it's a bit strange when you really think about it. He's saying like, okay, so like maybe I'm not fulfilling my end of the bargain as far as the criteria is concerned. I wish I could pull up the criteria that I'm talking about, but I currently cannot, because the game is in maintenance, and for whatever reason, like all of the pages are just like not accessible when the game is in maintenance. I don't know why. Thankfully, I do have one that is still up, and since I didn't refresh, I'll be able to look at that. But we'll see how I even tie that one in. I guess maybe because I could show it at some point when after I read the letter, assuming I ever damn do, or I could just look at it now, I guess. Let's see. So this was a point in time where it was like, what the hell? Like, there's a lot of questionable decisions that people at Neopol have made as far as like how they correspond with people in the community, and you know, things of that nature. And so this whole article, I think, is about like lag and stuff, right? Lag, like the connection issues and all this, something like that. And so one of the things in the game, the red computer thing, all right, so it's like basically there would be this little icon here that would pop up if you're like partying with somebody and you're like too far away from them, or they just have like a bad computer on Wi-Fi or something. This little symbol pops up, and so it normally it used to be like the normal just red PC would pop up at like around 100 milliseconds. So like East Coast to West Coast, North America, you would probably see the little red one, and then the red one plus the little flashing exclamation mark, which is supposed to like show you that it's really, really bad. That would happen at like I don't know, maybe 200 milliseconds or something like that, maybe 300 even. Which so the 100, the little red thing popping up at 100, obviously you were going to see that a lot, just being like a North American game, like including Canada. It's a lot of land there compared to South Korea, and it's peer-to-peer connections, so you're gonna be seeing the little computer a lot, right? But it's like, does this make any sense as to like, oh, because this is the change that they made is just they increased the threshold on when the icons would appear. It's like, what a pointless and stupid change is that? It's like, oh guys, we know you guys want us to fix the netcode, but we can't do that, so we'll just like increase the threshold with this little icon shows up. It's like, who the fuck thought of that stupid ass idea, you know? Forgive my language, but it's like, I don't even understand. This is what I'm about to get into, is like, how are some of these people working there like coming up with these dumbass ideas, and how is this being like greenlit? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But so anyway, there's one other thing I wish I could have shown, but again, since the game was in maintenance, I could not. But, you know, they pinged us all in the content creator Discord at some point. Let's see. He says, as some of you might have seen on our stream last week, we're recruiting new members for the next season of the content creator program. Please note that the next season, current content creators must also reapply and join the content creator program, as it has been quite a while since our last intake. We decided this season would be right timing to reaffirm if our content creators wish to continue in the program or pursue other endeavors. And then he listed a link where you're supposed to like go, and they're going to tell you an email where you go like apply like the first time, because yeah, I guess the only time I ever sent the email was back in, I don't know, 2020 or whenever the first one was, and ever since then he had just been asking me if I wanted to continue, which I would say yes, and I wouldn't need to reapply. He would just like keep me on there. But this time was different because, like I said, November of last year, he asked if I wanted to do it again, and I said yes. But then he still pinged me with that, to which case, you know, for that part, I was a little bit confused. It's like, okay, well, are they expecting me to still put in this application now after I already said yes to him, like a couple months ago? And I guess the answer was yes, because the day before the deadline, he reached out to me and said the content creator recruitment will be ending soon, so we hope you send us an email if they want to continue. And was already something that I had been thinking about on my stream. It was like, it's like it's a little bit weird. It's like I already said yes. Like maybe he could sense that me and others might not have actually wanted to continue, but it's one of those things where it's like, no, this is just a dead period of time in the game where people are just going through the motions and logging in. A lot of people feel that way. Maybe like a vast majority of the people still playing DFO Global right now, maybe they feel like that, right? But, you know, even knowing that, I'm like, all right, well, let me stay signed on there because like maybe 115 cap will be really good or something. I don't know. Like, obviously I can't predict the future, and I've never been one to really look that far ahead. Like, yes, the game is 6 months ahead or so in Korea, but I've never been that one to, you know, try to fully analyze everything before it just gets to us. I would always just kind of wait for the most part, other than, you know, some of the little more exciting things that people would show me screenshots for or whatever in Discords and whatnot. So that's what I was saying. Like, yeah, I said yes, I'll do it. I know that I'm not having that much fun playing the game for the most part now, but I guess the thought was like, hey, maybe it will actually be fun again in 115. So I'm like, okay, sure, I'll keep doing it. But anyway, they said I need to, okay, even though I said yes, that I still need to go and submit this like email as if it was my first time applying again or whatever. And so I was like, well, I'm probably not going to do this, but I followed the link and I looked at it, and I wish I could show you guys the application thing, but the game is offline, and the website is not accessible, so I can't show it. But anyway, one of the options now on the little content creator checklist thing was it's a new one that they hadn't had before, and it was called like PvP creator or something, which I guess has been the catalyst of this whole thing and why I've took all day just writing all this. It's like, what the hell, PvP creator? Do they not like they're I know that they know that, oh, what is it that they always say? Like, PvP is not the priority, right? Sorry guys, we can't fix PvP. Sorry guys, the balance patches don't come too quickly on PvP. It's not the priority. You know, PvE is the priority. So it's like, yeah, fair. So what the hell is this like PvP creator thing doing on here? And so what I'm about to say next, I guess I'll start reading our correspondence from the Discord. And this does not sound like a hater, right? But I say, this is the first time I'm looking at it. Was the PvP creator thing just a way to be able to fit Mez in without having him feel like he needs to stream for 6 hours a week? And I said, I'm not hating or saying he shouldn't be a part of the program, because I think he should. I think he does a lot of good work, and I appreciate what he does for the community. And I think, you know, they should help him out with what he's doing. But I'm just saying, like, this is odd to me why this PvP creator category is now there when it hadn't been for like the past 5 years or whatever. And his response to that was, no problem. It's more like PvP focused creator field, not like custom position for Meza. But see, my point with that was, like, dude, I don't know. Meza's the only one running these tournaments and stuff, right? Like, yeah, I myself, I play PvP on stream. It's mostly, I mean, it kind of depends. If there's actually an Extreme tournament or F1 tournament, yeah, I'll get more serious and I'll play everybody. But other than that, it's usually just me kind of like playing my friends on there because I'm bored, so it's not, some like, oh, try hard stuff. But so anyway, he said he's been discussing with the team to open an additional field by watching my stream and Mez's PvP videos, which is like, okay, I mean, I guess that's cool, right? But it's like, okay, so what? PvP isn't the priority, right? But now you guys want us to make PvP content or something? And he said the team and I wanted to have such a field for the content creators after the F1 tournament, which I'm like, okay, yeah, but here's another thing why I was thinking that was weird, because yeah, we did go to F1 Global. DFO Global had a chance to go to F1 in 2023, and that was the first time that we had been able to go since 2019, because, well, the whole COVID thing happened, and so that put a stop on all of that. But finally, they were willing to host it again in 2023. Like, not to take all the credit, but I think, that may have largely been due to my correspondence with, like, bringing it up. Because I was thinking, like, surely now they're not going to be all crazy about, vaccine mandates and all that, right? Because I had read that it was no longer required to be able to be let in to, like, those other countries in question, like China and Korea. Because for a while, at least in China, you had to have, like, proof of vaccine, and they were super, super strict and all that. They had the whole place shut down. So obviously, yeah, nobody's flying in there. You're not going to be doing no tournaments or whatever. Or if you could, I mean, it would just be a crazy hassle, and a lot of people probably would have apprehension about, like, going there, I guess, because they're like, oh man, isn't this the origin of the virus? I don't want to get sick or whatever. I personally had never had such a thought, but I could see how maybe the Korean pro players or something would have been thinking that. And so I feel like they probably could have opened it back up in like 2022 or something, but they didn't. So I asked in 2023, and they made that happen. And it was the first time we were there in 4 years or whatever. But so I was kind of thinking, okay, well, we did it then. Maybe they're gonna do it next year. Maybe they won't. But 2024 rolled around the same time, November. We were all waiting for them to make an announcement or whatever, but it just never came. There was no mention of F1 Extreme Tournament, none of that. And to make it even more weird, it's like, if we just weren't invited this time, like DFO Global, I mean, that would kind of make sense, honestly, for being completely honest. It's like that they're spending a lot of money flying us over there for this, and like, it's kind of cool, but it's just like, the game hasn't been they haven't made the necessary changes to be able to facilitate the growth of the PvP community in our region of the game. Or, it's funny because it's DFO Global, right? I say our region, that being North America. The only people who have ever represented global in the, world PvP tournament are people from North America. specifically United States and some in Canada. There's no Mexico. Mexico's part of North America, but not even that. Just a couple people. A lot of the same repeat people too. You know, I'd been multiple years just from United States and from Canada. So I mean, it should just be called Team North America. You know, but global, by the way, right? Anyway, they haven't made any changes to the game to be able to, you know, facilitate that growth as far as like new players wanting to get in and stuff. And we're talking about making tutorials and stuff. It's like I never wanted to make tutorials for PvE, but, and I'll say this again soon, probably when I read over one of my responses to him, but I'm like, yeah, I would make tutorials for PvP because that makes more sense to me. I mean, when I was saying earlier how I don't understand how people really just can't play a game without reading a damn tutorial or a guide or whatever. I don't understand that. I don't like that, right? Because, you know, a lot of stuff they could just figure it out on their own. Kind of not even that hard, I feel like, you know. And if you don't think you can figure anything out for yourself, like that's a little bit of a issue in my opinion. Like a lot of the stuff they're asking, and I'm not trying to like put anybody down or say they're not smart, but it's like you can try, and if you try, you would figure it out. I promise you would. So I just, you know, I wish people would be more like that, willing to, you know, they're willing to go in and ask a question. But it's like they're not willing to like learn, and because like they're asking kind of basic stuff that would be easy to learn. I think, you know, I know there's some complicated stuff in DFO, so don't get it twisted. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, they need to know all this like complicated shit, but it's just like, you know, when people ask me how to I don't know, do some kind of maneuver on one of the characters I'd be using. I'm just like, well, would it not be fun to kind of like learn it yourself too? But anyways, I felt differently about it for PvP because I'm like, okay, well for PvP, there's a lot more actual specific like stuff that I can actually really delve into. And you know, there's a lot more like skill involved in a lot of the stuff too, so I could break it down and that would be cool, and that would make more sense to me as far as something that, you know, I feel like could be something that, you know, people would want tutorials for. But I've never really made much PvP tutorials. I've made some small ones, and I made a monk one back in the day in 2018 or something, a monk tutorial specifically for PvP. It was unlisted, so only the people that I gave the link to have seen it. It was unlisted because of the reasons I explained earlier, where it's like it just didn't really meet my standards as far as something that I would have been proud to like show off in public. You know, it's probably maybe helpful to the few people that I did share it with, but I just, you know, it wasn't really up to my standards for something that I wanted to share. But anyway, I did make some tutorials back in the day, and some small ones, like male priests. They have a big technique you got to do in PvP if you want to do combos with them. It's called the stationary uppercut, or stationary second uppercut. I mean, there's maybe some other ways you could explain it, but that's a good way of putting it, right? It's where when you do a dash attack, instead of dashing all the way forward like how the male priest normally would, you will instead like stay in place to where you're not dashing, but you will still be able to do the second uppercut then out of the dash, which is going to help you do juggles for combos and stuff. So I've done like small little tutorials like that, right? But as far as like really breaking it down in depth, like matchups, specific stuff, etc., I never did, because it just seemed like, well, what's the point, right? It's like it's just the same few people in there. I feel like a lot of the cool people that would be smart and receptive, and you know, a lot of people that I would like to help get better, because you know, I could use my experience to teach them and they would learn fast. I feel like those people don't really exist, because the only people in there are kind of you know, you got to be a certain kind of person to be willing to waste your time on something that just the developers clearly don't really care about, I feel like, I guess. And so I never felt good about making those tutorials for PvP, because it was like, what's the point? It's like, either some of the weird toxic people that are still in there that are like worse than me, like, am I trying to teach them even though they're always like talking shit for no reason, even though, you know, they're not as good as me, but they'll be sitting there talking that junk. Am I making tutorials for them so that they might get better? You know, it's like, they don't deserve that from me, right? And then if there's anybody else that's cool that genuinely would be interested, I don't know where they're at, because, you know, where they at, right? They can't really exist without Neopal actually making the changes for it to be a reasonable thing to want to invest time into learning, like the PvP and stuff, right? Because for the most of us, the people who are good, like me, Citron, you know, Miss Heartbreak, Snow White, or you know, the many different names that he goes by, and we can just stop there. I mean, obviously there's way more, the Flash, etc., Kwangi, you know, I mean, there's tons, we don't gotta name them all, but obviously the people who are good mostly are just the people who started playing when they were a kid. Like, that's what we all have in common there. We were either just teenagers, or you know, for some of them, they were actually younger than that. They would have been like 10 or something when they started playing. So, you know, when you're a kid, like I probably already said earlier, you don't really think about what you're going to put your time into, or like what kind of return you're going to get out of your time investment. You kind of just do it for fun. But obviously, you know, if we're talking about, oh, making tutorials, making content and stuff, it's not the same. Like, if you're going to be doing something like that, you probably want a return on your time investment. So where were we as far as this DM here? Me corresponding with the Opal worker. I was asking why there was the PvP content creator field now, right? Because it strikes me as very odd, considering, you know, all the stuff I had just gone over with. And he said, yeah, they wanted to after the F1 tournament, which is like cool. But then, as far as I know, and so maybe this is a thing where it's like I just didn't see it because I had always been telling him, like, yes, I'll do it, instead of actually going and manually reapplying on a site, assuming they held it again for 2024. But I kind of feel like they didn't even do that. But anyways, moving on, like the whole thing, it was kind of odd, right? And then, so about the, you know, going back to Meza, he said this could be a big chance for him, but we'll see how it'll go. I do understand your curiosity. And I said, I just put it bluntly, and I said, well, personally, I think there's no chance of it really being able to take off the Nightfall tournament. Like, yeah, it's cool. Like I said, it's cool. I appreciate what Meza does. I wish it could be better. I wish it could be popular, but it's not realistic, right? I know Meza's optimistic about it, or at least, you know, that's what he has put out there. He seems like a pretty optimistic kind of guy, but like, if we're really being honest with ourselves here and we're looking at the data, it's like, how could it get better I'm if you want to say like, oh, maybe if we do these tournaments, if we host these tournaments and show them how much we care, maybe they'll fix the game for us. You know, that would be extremely gullible to think that, right? I think so. Really, if they want us to make good content and try to uplift the game, they first have to fix the game to where it is even like reasonable for people to want to play it or to want to make good content for it. And that's a good point too, because you know, we have some content creators here, right? There's probably ones that are better than me, at least when it comes to like making tutorials or videos, or just like editing videos and stuff. Like I've already said, all I ever wanted to be the streamer, so I had no interest in making like edited videos and stuff. Certainly, I have to assume some of those other guys that have been on the program, they've been better than me at that. But again, I've looked at some of them early on, or here and there, maybe briefly, but I'm never been into like the guide kind of thing. I guess for me, I've had the luxury of just, you know, being in guilds and having friends, and now with my stream, if I need help, even I'll just ask people in my stream and they'll let me know. It's like a community thing. I guess that's going back about the me not wanting to necessarily give tutorials. It's like I don't because like the people are just shy, I guess. I feel like they should probably work on that, right? So that's another reason why I don't necessarily put that much value into guides, because it's like, if you want to learn, as long as you don't have to feel like, oh man, these guys aren't gonna, you know, want to answer my question or anything. You don't really have to feel like shy or apprehensive. I feel like it's you know, just be genuine, and as long as you're actually making like a considerable effort to try to absorb what the person is telling you and apply what they're telling you, they're not going to be mad if you make like some mistake if you're in their party or something like that. So I mean, that's kind of, you know, my point with that, with not wanting to make the guides for PvE necessarily. But back to my other point, because, you know, I'll be going off on these tangents for sure. I just like to make sure I explain things right, and it can be kind of hard to organize your thoughts, which is why writing this letter would have been good to just read. But I'm almost just kind of liking the spitballing I'm doing here, just the no script kind of chat we're having. We got the nice classical music in the background, you know. It's cool. But going back to my response to him about how he was saying, yeah, this could be a big chance. Oh my god, you know, Nightfall, that might be $1 million company or something. Nah, he didn't say nothing like that, but, you know, if you let the imagination go wild, then it's like, yeah, oh, wow, this could be a big chance, right? But I just put it bluntly. Personally, I think there's no chance of it being able to take off, and it's not his fault. The game has no hope outside of Korea and China if the netcode isn't fixed. Forward that to Director Chong or whoever needs to see it, right? So it's like, I just kind of came right out and said it, like, no, dude, what are you saying? This could be a big chance. Like, that is ridiculous. You guys have to fix the game if you want people to be able to make good content. And that, okay, now saying that again, that reminds me of what my other point was. It's like, yeah, we got those other guys that make PvE content, like Mike and all that. They're certainly better than me when it comes to video editing and all that, but you can tell that there's like a difference in quality between those creators, right, and whoever the top creators would be for a way more popular game. Let's just throw something out there like League of Legends, or, you know, just any actual popular game. The creators who are at the top for those games, they have like a crazy level of production value on their videos and stuff, right? And so part of the reason for that is just because like there's more competition, more people are making videos, and so like it's more obvious who's really knowing what they're talking about, who's really putting in the time and effort to take that little extra step to make their stuff the best and stand out from the rest. But for us, there isn't really that much. And while the creators that we have had are good, if they really want people to make like groundbreakingly good guides and have to update them all the time because, you know, things change rapidly in this game sometimes, or drastically, class guides will get outdated quickly. You know, my main character, well, not main, but one of my other main characters, the Exorcist, he just had like a major skill rehaul where it's like, I'm sure there's some Exorcist guide from, you know, a year and a half ago, and it's already outdated because they've completely just changed the character and stuff. But my point is that, going back, is like, if you guys want really high quality, well produced guides that are made constantly, the game has to be fixed, or else no one is going to care to actually do that. I mean, that's kind of just what it is, right? I don't even know if I need to read the letter at this point, so I guess I'll end it there. But I guess tell me in the comments below if you would like to hear me read it out, and yeah, I will. So that's gonna be it for now. I feel like I explained a lot of this stuff, but I still got this letter that I sent to Neopol, and we'll see. So yeah, take care. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, you a real one. I see you.